Hey guys, Crypto Sunday, and it's a bit of a quiet week this week. About 3,000 down or 2%. Still sort of waiting on the ETF approval or rejection, whatever they decide to do. The thinking is at the moment that the SEC have sort of bashed crypto so much that they might just let one thing through that they're happy to let through, and that could be a Bitcoin ETF or many of them. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. So, not a huge amount of news this week, but some bits and pieces going on. Someone I think is sort of a must watch in the crypto space for longer term holders is Bob Lucas. He sort of does a lot of work on 4 year cycles and sort of cycle theory and that sort of thing. He sort of popularised the 4 year cycle back sort of couple of cycles ago, really, now. And yeah, he releases sort of video every month or two, and yeah, he's just put one out. Really good watch. He's sort of talking about how well, he thinks we've certainly bottomed at the sort of 15k level, and sort of basically saying for people that are unhappy they didn't buy the bottom, basically just accept that you haven't bought the bottom and take a position. Importantly, don't try and sort of catch up by buying too much and over leveraging yourself and then sort of getting emotional when it goes up and down. Sort of get yourself a reasonable sized position that you can be sort of happy with, and just accept that you didn't get the bottom, and nobody's really going to, so just carry on for the cycle. And then sort of as importantly as that, leave it alone, and don't sort of be trying to trade in and out. If we get a big move up, don't be sort of tempted to sell out and buy lower, because it may not happen. You may sort of time that wrong and then be sort of out of the market for the really big move up. So that's important. He's not very keen on the ETFs, which I can sort of see why. The sort of original idea of crypto was to sort of get away from or some people's idea at least, was to sort of get away from the clutches of Wall Street and sort of being manipulated and that sort of thing. And sort of the ETFs obviously centralise what could be 500,000 Bitcoin, 1,000,000 Bitcoin into sort of BlackRock's hands, and you could start getting derivatives based on that, and the sort of same suppression that the gold market sees. So yeah, potential for that, but I mean, it's going to bring money in, so it's what people want, I guess. And the potential, as I say, does this sort of cycle theory stuff, and he's all we've always been looking at basically 3 years green and 1 year of red in the sort of 4 year cycle, but he does point to possibility you could get a left translated cycle, so all-time high coming, and the cycle high coming before the halving, potentially, which would be sort of in the next year, and then sort of a 2 or 3 year decline. Is potential sort of happened in other sort of markets like gold, with sort of a long-term time horizon, and have to be sort of wary of it, basically. So we'll see what happens in the next year. If we get a huge run up, basically, sort of be wary of people saying it's a super cycle and that sort of thing, and we're going to if we get 100,000 say on the back of the ETF news, and sort of them opening up, people piling in, you could get to 100,000 and you'll get people saying it's a super cycle. After the halving, we could be going to 500,000 or 1,000,000 or something, and he's basically sort of saying that isn't sort of guaranteed. That could be a left translated, 100,000, maybe a little bit more, is potentially the top of the cycle, and then it comes down for 2 or 3 years. So yeah, all good points, but worth watching the whole video and subscribing, certainly, and maybe watching a bit of the sort of back catalogue to see where we've come, and what the videos. I mean, the very first one sort of might be a good one to watch, to sort of see what he was predicting way before the 2021 bull run, basically. Good to check in on Ethereum every now and then. I quite like this website. Ultrasound Money is sort of monitoring the burned ETH over time, sort of since the merge started. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's sort of, for a little bit of time, we were getting a lot less burnt and supply was actually increasing. But certainly sort of over the last few days, been back to burning. So in the last 7 days, you've had 7,375 net change, basically. So 14,000 issued and 21,000 ETH burnt. So that's pretty good. You can sort of go on longer time frames, or you can, there's a little button here that you can simulate what it would have been like on the old chain. So you would have had sort of 21,000 ETH burnt and 94,000 issued on the old sort of proof of work model with miners and that sort of thing. So without proof of work, it does become a deflationary chain, a proper deflationary chain. I mean, people call Bitcoin deflationary, and that's not quite true. Bitcoin is disinflationary. So it's going up in supply by a less and less amount over time. 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, coming down to 3.125. That's still supply going up, or circulating supply going up, but just at a slower rate. Obviously, we know there'll only ever be 21 million, but the amount on the market is increasing, whereas Ethereum, all the time this is happening, the total supply is actually decreasing. So obviously, you have to see whether this continues. You can look at sort of longer time periods. The 30-day, again, as I say, it was sort of whether this is a short-lived period. It was sort of having periods of very low burn amount and sort of even times of increasing supply. But at the moment, it's looking pretty good. And you can go back to since the merge, which was 297 days ago. And yeah, so basically since January time, really, the turn of the year, it's gone deflationary and it's taken off nearly 300,000 ETH from the market. So 820,000 issued and 820,000 burnt and 534,000 issued through staking. And again, you can simulate proof of work. If we were on the old system, this would have been nearly 4 million ETH issued. So would have added over 3 million ETH to the total supply. Whereas now we're at 300,000 down. So yeah, ETH is actually deflationary. The total supply is going down. So the Q2 quarterly report's coming out from Masari, and they've kicked it off with XRP. They get it out quite quick, considering we're only 1 week into Q3. And yeah, XRP sort of, to be honest, not looking all that good. I do hold a sort of a small-ish position, and sort of obviously the fans are always very, very bullish, but the numbers don't seem to be backing it up, really. The average daily active addresses has dropped sort of quite sharply. It's been dropping sort of over time, really, even sort of with the market picking up. Daily transactions sort of flat, which I guess isn't too bad. NFTs, they're starting to get into NFTs, so that's basically new since Q4 last year, but is sort of down from the peak. I can understand that. Where people sort of getting into it while it was new. But yeah, under sort of most metrics, basically, they're not looking all that good. There's some sort of spikes here and there, some things that have gone up you'd sort of think is quite bullish, but it's just very, very short-term spikes. And obviously that goes into the quarterly figures, but you'd rather sort of see a steady uptrend of of transactions, addresses, total value locked in DeFi and that sort of thing, rather than just 1 or 2 day spikes and then back down to sort of very little. They're using it for sort of currency exchanges. They've got a decentralized exchange, but they don't do smart contracts like other layer ones. So difficult to say whether they're going to get sort of traction that other layer ones would get, really. Fees still very low, incredibly low, really, but have increased quite substantially this quarter. 295% average fee increase. Whether this is partly down to NFTs, not really sure, but it's still very, very low, 0.1 of a cent. So it's not as if that's going to cause an issue. Yeah, decentralized exchange volume was sort of notable, down 56% for the quarter. Not particularly good. Centralized exchange volume down slightly. Just basically everything down. The only thing that sort of did tweak my interest was the sort of development on new applications. Basically, they sort of run the community events that other projects do, and they sort of have a fund for grants that people can sort of compete for with new developments. Yeah, the summer hackathon, sort of similar to Solana and Ethereum and that sort of thing, sort of compete for grants in new developments and stuff, and there seems to be a reasonable amount going on there. And obviously they're very, very big on central bank digital currencies and that sort of thing. You sort of see they're working on around 20 projects. Whether all of these come to pass is a bit different, but they're working on 20 central bank digital currencies with various countries. So yeah, that's sort of the route they want to go down, and I guess 1 or 2 of those could be sort of a huge catalyst if they win their SEC lawsuit as well, get listed back on exchanges. That could be positive, but yeah, this didn't exactly sort of fill me with confidence. But I do like these reports. I'll certainly be coming back to these for my other holdings and highlighting them here. So nice. And just a sort of quick follow on from BlackRock's CEO Larry Fink from filing the ETF application. He's been on Fox Business on Wednesday, sort of singing Bitcoin's praises. Basically, the one of the interviewers was sort of saying he didn't think there was very much adoption or real use, even if the Bitcoin price was going up, and Larry sort of disagreed and said it has rather a lot of uses. He even said sort of tokenization of assets and securities could revolutionize finance. Again, sort of people are highlighting his 2017 comments, I think it was, saying the asset class was heavily used for illicit activities, and that was sort of basically all it was used for. Which may not have been too far off the truth. I do think there was still a lot of just, innocent and legal price speculation, which I would say was used for a hell of a lot more than illegal activity in 2017. But he was highlighting that sort of narrative back in the day. So, yeah, he's, going out there and being a sort of cheerleader for the space almost. So interesting. So just looking at the coins for the week, it is a bit of a mixed bag. Bitcoin down 1.7%, so that's provided sort of most of a good part of the loss. Ethereum down 3.4%, so that is most of the rest of it. But Solana, interestingly, up 11.5%. Haven't really seen sort of what activity could be causing this, whether it's temporary and it's going to sort of come back down again. Not really sure, but nice to see, being a large position of mine. Chainlink down 4%, Cardano down 2%, XRP down 3.8%, Audius pretty much flat. Polygon slightly green as well, nearly 1%, although it's been absolutely hammered recently. Quant's down 8%. That's really not having a good time of it. Obviously, they're competing against XRP and a number of other sort of projects and firms for central bank digital currency type stuff. So interesting to see sort of where they'll go. Maybe if only one or two of these can win, I could end up losing sort of basically all of a position. But that's only sort of a couple of thousand of my holdings. Power Ledger 3.4% down, Gala 3%. Gala seem to be going through a bit of trouble at the moment, sort of people leaving and projects sort of not going too well. I always said they were spreading themselves quite thin, going after sort of music, films and games. But yeah, they seem to like the sort of go big or go home style. Basic Attention Token 8% down. VeChain 9.5% down, not too good. And Internet Computer down 3.7. So yeah, not looking too good in the altcoins. But Bitcoin and ETH sort of slightly down. Solana looking great. But we'll see if this carries on. So leave your thoughts in comments below and like and subscribe. See you soon.